Recording in progress.
Okay, perfect. I hope everyone can see the screen that's up on your computer. So this is the junior Naviance night. I will be talking about things that you and your child, your junior, should be doing this year as we get closer to their senior year. There are a lot of things that can be done ahead of time. So one of the things, obviously, is we're going to be talking about colleges. So what you see on your screen is the homepage of, I guess you can call it a fake account, because this is, I made an account so that I can show you, walk you through what your child's account would look like. So this is the homepage. Obviously, you're going to have a letter on the side to welcome the class of 2025. And then there's also an area for you to edit if you choose to go to, let's say, college and get a bachelor's degree, or if you choose, or if you and your child choose, let's say, an associate degree or career education or trade. That's up to you, and you can actually make those choices on the very first page. There are also other areas on the first page, such as if you wanted to search for a college, if you're not sure about the college, and we are going to go into that a little bit deeper. So as a junior, students should be thinking about colleges that may be of interest to them. Now, this does not mean that these are the colleges that they're going to end up applying to in their senior year, because obviously they have, time to change their mind or find other colleges that they're interested in. On this side, there is a list of college visits or college rep visits. We have college rep visits on Mondays and Thursdays. Now, this particular one is Tuesday because it is an art school, and this particular visit will be done in the art classroom with Mrs. Levy. But on Thursday, September 21st, we do have St. Mary's College coming, and then we also have Santa Clara also on Thursday. And if you click display all, it'll give you the upcoming colleges as well. There are a few other items here. When students are in their senior year, they're going to change their colleges that they're thinking about to colleges that I'm applying to, obviously, because we're working on only for juniors this time. We're not going to have anything here. And then as for scholarships, I will show you where the scholarships are at the end. But it is more for seniors than it is for juniors. And the career essentials is really for the sophomores. So one of the focus that I want to highlight is the college tab, or the colleges tab. So this is the one that we're going to be working on today or tonight. So one of the things that I like about Naviance is what they call Super Match College Search. So if you click on that, one of the things I do want to mention is it would be fantastic if you sat down with your child to kind of go through all these types of tabs so that you can come up with an agreed upon list of colleges that your child would maybe apply to down the road as a senior. So what this Super Match College Search does is narrow down what you would want in a college. So you have different criteria up here. So the first criteria is location. So it allows you to search schools by location. So you can either search by state or region, or you can search by distance. Or you can do a really quick search and you want to make it a little more broad. So for instance, if I wanted to attend school only on the West Coast, these are the states where the focus of the colleges will be. And then do you want to live in a large city, small city, suburb near a large city? So let's say we want a large city in the West Coast. Then we can move on to the next criteria in terms of academics. Are you interested in getting a certificate, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's, doctorate, or graduate certificate. So let's start with bachelor's degree. And then we can move on to the next one, which is the admissions. So I forgot to mention with this particular student that I have put up here, I added the GPA, which is 3.8, and I added a SAT composite score. I don't have an ACT. So what I also want to look at is, do I want a college that accepts a lot of students? Do I want a college that accepts a small number of students? So you can manipulate your choices or your findings by clicking on what you feel is best for you or for your child. And then they have also, do you want the schools to accept AP credits? Well, yeah, I want let's say I took a few AP classes, I want them to accept my AP scores. Then you can go ahead and move on to the next one, which would be the student life. Are you interested in organizations and clubs? Are you interested in Greek life, internships and co-ops, or a school that offers study abroad? Let's say I'm really interested in a school that offers study abroad. Then you can go ahead and click on the arrow that points to the right, and then it moves on to diversity. Is this something that's important to you? Are you looking at a co-ed type of school? Are you looking at only women's, or are you looking at only men's college? Are you looking at certain percentage of male versus female population of the school? So this is, to me, this is not overly important. So I'm not going to pick any of the criterias here. So the next one is institution characteristics. Well, I'm not interested in a 2-year. I'm more interested in a 4-year, but I'm okay if it's public or private college. So you can also select whether the school has a high graduation rate or high retention rate, because I know sometimes students, they go to the colleges and then they decide, well, this isn't a place for me. So they end up transferring out to a different college. So maybe those are some of the important criteria that you might be looking for. Maybe if there's a high job placement rate after they graduate from this particular school. You can also select class sizes. Or do you want a very large school that's over 20,000 students, or do you want somewhat of a large school between 13,000 to 20,000 students? So I'm okay with somewhere, let's say large, okay? And then I move on to the next criteria. So this might be important for a lot of students and a lot of parents, because the cost of college has continually moved up. So maybe you might want to say the most our family can pay is, let's say, $50,000 per year. So I'm going to put $50,000 in there. And then there's other criteria if you want to look at that as well. Okay, and then if you want any athletics, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'm not going to go into the athletics. I'm just going to leave everything the way it is. So I have all my must-haves. These are the things that I'm looking for. Then you can save your search. Oops, hang on a second. That's not it. Oh, there we go. So on the bottom here, it gives you the list of schools that best matches the criteria that I have selected. So you can see USC is at 94% match with what my criteria is. And it gives you the average GPA, and this is where I'm at. This is their average SAT score, and this is where I'm at. Because I didn't put in an ACT score, it's going to be NA. And the school is test optional, which means you do not have to have an SAT or ACT score submitted, because they're not going to look at it to determine your admissions. So if a student has the test of an ACT or SAT and they want to submit it, that's fine, but they're not going to use it as an admissions criteria. And if a student decides not to submit or does not have a test score, that student's not going to be penalized for not having it submitted. Okay, and then there's Rice University and Georgetown. So what you can do is, off of this page, if you wanted to find out a little bit more of USC, you can click on it. So the fantastic thing about Naviance is a lot of this stuff is hyperlinked. So if, let's say, okay, I don't know anything about USC, let me see if this is something that I would like to investigate further. So you can click on USC. Sorry, computer's a little slow. I'm not sure if this is the correct average net price, but it is for a family income. If you have a family income of 0 to 30,000, it might be, that might be what you would be paying after the financial aid and everything. So they have a 77% graduation rate, and they accept 12% of students. So, and it also tells you the deadline, which is November 1st. It tells you, if you scroll down to the bottom, it's a private four-year university. These are just the codes for the test. I mean, yeah, for the school and for the test. Undergraduates, they allow about almost 20,000 students in, and student faculty ratio is 9:1, and the classroom size, the average is 23.8. And again, it gives you just a lot of the different information that you might want to learn more about. So that's USC. And then we can go ahead and let's look at maybe a smaller school. Let's look at UC Berkeley, because a lot of our students do attend Berkeley. So the average net price is about $8,400, and they have a 74% graduation rate, and they accept about 14% of their applicants. And they have a deadline of November 30th. It is a public four-year school. There's about 31,000 students enrolled undergraduate, and the student faculty ratio is about 19:1, and the average class size about 22.2. So this, again, gives you a lot of information about the schools. So that is a super match. So if I go back to college events, so this is kind of going off tangent a little bit. So college events basically tells you what colleges are coming to a town near you. So for instance, if I wanted to find something within 50 miles of Pasadena, South Pasadena, and I want to maybe look at something that's going to happen sometime next week to the month of October, the end of October. They'll tell me, okay, so there's a Bridgewater State University tour, but that's out. Okay, I don't know why that did that. Hang on a second. Let me go back and fix that. It should give me something closer than that. 18. Oh. 1, 2, 27. Let's open that marker up a little bit more, maybe up until November 30th, see if there's anything. So unfortunately, there aren't any events in California at that time. So if you, let's say you're traveling and you happen to be going to New York during Thanksgiving break, you can also use this information to see if there's anything happening in New York where the college reps are going to be doing any type of events that might pique your interest. So that's what the college events link is. So I'm going to talk about scattergrams, but I'm not going to use the scattergrams here, and I'll go into scattergrams in a little bit. So there's also a link called Advanced College Search, which is very similar to Super Match College Search. So I'm not going to go into that either. So one of the other things is, this is called College Lookup. So the quick list basically are colleges that most of our students frequently apply to, and that's why it's called a quick list. But let's say you're interested in a another school, maybe something that's out of state. So let's select a school that is by state. So let's say you're looking at a school in Colorado. So these are the different types of schools in Colorado that you can go and kind of do some investigative work or some research about the schools. Or the other thing you can do is, let's say you're not sure about the name of the school that you heard someone talk about, and it's a fantastic school. This is, again, another way of looking for it. Maybe the school is in Connecticut, so you click on Connecticut, and maybe, you know, just kind of looking through the different schools, you might find something that piques your interest. So that's college lookup. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go over is called research colleges. So colleges I'm thinking about basically is something that I would suggest you as a parent sit down with your junior to kind of go over a tentative list of what colleges you know, you think your child would be interested in and would be applying to in their senior year. So I kind of put together a list. It's a variety of colleges, some in-state, some out-of-state, some private colleges, some state colleges, some UCs, and some Cal States. So what I'm going to show you here on this side is, I'm going to look. So if you click on the 3 dots next to more, you can send an email to the school. You can request information about the school if you need more information. You can also visit the school's website, or you can look at scattergram. So scattergrams is the one that I didn't go through earlier, but this is a very interesting way to see if your child would fit that particular school. So I'm going to go from the top. So it gives you, again, information. The deadline is November 1st. The cost of the application fee is $80, and this is for Boston University, and the acceptance rate is 18%. So if you scroll down, you can see the history of South Pasadena High School, of students who apply to that school and who've been accepted and who has decided to attend and enroll. So in 2023, just last year, we had 42 applicants, 8 got accepted, and 2 decided to enroll. So the scattergram's very similar, except it takes into account, like, let's say your GPA, and if you have a test score, it takes into account your test score. So it gives you a little bit more detail of the applicant. So back in 2022, 40 applicants, 4 got accepted, 2 enrolled. 2021, 32 applicants, 8 got accepted, but nobody decided to enroll. So it goes all the way back to when we first had the program, which was back in 2009. Okay, so it tells you, it gives you that criteria. And then if you scroll down further, this gives you information about the scattergram. So it looks very messy, and there's no way to clean it up. The way Naviance does this is that they included everybody since 2009 who've applied to Boston University, and the decision that was made based on the criteria. So if you look over here, sorry, let me see if I can make it a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so this person here got accepted under RD, which is regular decision, had a score, SAT score of 1230 and a GPA of 3.9286. So the lines here basically tell you, this is kind of the grid. This is about the average SAT score. And, oops. Sorry, let me go back to the top. And this is basically the GPA and the test scores. So you do have students right here, like this particular student who only had a score of 825 and with a 3.71 GPA, but was still able to get into Boston University, even though the person's statistics is below the average of who they normally accept. And this could be many different factors. This could be a student who is an athlete, or this could be a student who really had a phenomenal application. This could be a student who did something outside of school that really made the person stand out. So there's many reasons why there are some students that are below, and you can see there are some students who are above the range who did not get accepted. And again, every year it is different as we get further and further into the future. The cost of colleges obviously has been going up, and the number of applicants have increased, but the number of slots for the applicants to attend remains the same. So it does become a little bit on the competitive side. So it's very, again, it's something that I'm not sure if colleges are gonna be focusing on that or trying to change that. I'm not sure. So let me extend my, okay. So that is the colleges that I'm thinking about. So what I usually tell students is, you know, list the colleges that you're interested in. But again, this is not the list that you're going to end up with in your senior year. And not only that, make sure you have enough schools where, you know, some of them are going to be safety schools, some are going to be target schools, and some of them are going to be reach schools. And when I say reach schools, I want students to understand, you know, make sure the school's kind of within your reach in terms of the GPA, and if you have a test score within that range, versus, you know, something that's kind of like beyond your reach. I mean, if you're talking about like a GPA, let's say a school takes students who are whose average GPA is 3.79 and you're at a 3.73, well, you're close. But if you're talking about a 3.79 average versus maybe a 3.3, that's a pretty big stretch. And I usually tell students to make sure that with the list of colleges that you have, these are the colleges that you would attend if, let's say, out of the 10 schools that you have, only one accepts you and you plan to attend that school. Because if it's not a school that you want to attend, then maybe that shouldn't be on your list. And the reason I say that is because, you know, you're paying for the application fees, and it is costly when you talk about 10 to 12 schools that's on the list. So just something to think about. Okay, the next one is called college visits. And again, it's kind of like what the first page showed you. It lists the different colleges. So on Tuesday, California College of the Arts, that's going to be in room 611, which is going to be Miss Levy's room. And on Thursday, we have Hope International, St. Mary's College, Santa Clara University. So these three colleges will be outside of the counseling center or by the Tiger mural. And usually kids are aware of this already. We do have a lot of students. This does happen during lunchtime. So a lot of students walk by when they see tables set up, and they come by and they talk to the colleges, college reps. So I know it says register, but you do not need to register because their lunch is during lunchtime. So students just need to walk by and say hello to the college reps and maybe ask questions if they're interested in their school. The only time you do need to register if the college visit is a virtual visit, because you do have to register so that you can get the link, or your child should get the link in order to get onto the virtual visit. So that's the college visit part. So this is compare colleges. So this is the fake account that I set up, and there is the GPA, the SAT score, And what you can do here is you can add a college to compare. So let's say I'm interested in, let's say, let me see, Oregon State. I think I spelled Oregon State wrong. Okay, what happened there? There we go. So let's say I'm interested in Oregon State University. So I want to see if how I compare to some of the students that they've accepted in the past. So it does give you their statistics. So this gives me information about how I would compare. So I'm over here, and this is their average, and this is nationally what they accepted. So I'm kind of within that range. This is the test scores that they've accepted, and I'm kind of out here, and then for the ACT. So it gives you an idea of how you would compare to that particular school. Okay, so going back to colleges. And like I said, a lot of the resources are also hyperlinked. So a lot of things are hyperlinked, so they're very easy to access. So one of the applications that most students use, I would say 99% of students who apply to private independent colleges, they will use the common application. So once in their senior year, when they're ready to apply for the application, common application, all they need to do is just click on here, or they can just go on the website and look for it as well. But again, it makes it very easy. Coalition, there's only a couple of schools that use Coalition nowadays. There aren't that many. And then there's also the Common Black College application, Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. As we move further down, there is also financial aid link. There's a CSS profile, which is for private independent colleges, and the money comes out from the colleges themselves. So the FAFSA is the one that the federal government provides money to our students. So this one, once the FAFSA is filled out, and if your child is applying to any private independent colleges, I would definitely encourage them to fill out the CSS profile. And if they're not sure if the private independent colleges accept the CSS profile, they can go on the they can go on College Board to look to see if that particular school accepts the CSS profile. And then there's also Federal Student Aid Estimator that can give you an idea of how much it would cost your child or your family if you were to attend a particular school. And there's also a few other informational links about scholarships. So that's the scholarship part. And there's a test preparation, and then there's also a section for students who are college athletes as well. So this acceptance history, unfortunately, this is not something that you can do a search to look for a particular school. The way Naviance sets it up is most of the schools are in alpha order, but I'm not sure why there's a couple that is not. So if you wanted to look for your particular school that your child's interested in, you would have to scroll down to find the school to see what their acceptance rate was, or how many students from our school have been accepted. And you can also do that under the College Compare or the scattergram. And we also have enrichment programs, which right now we don't have a whole lot, but for students who are interested in doing summer summer programs, there are a few, and then as we progress into the school year, there's going to be more that's going to be added in as well. And then lastly, college maps is very similar to the acceptance history. It just tells you, okay, I go to this one, top 20 most popular colleges where our students apply. And these are the colleges. I know the map hasn't been working all day, but these are 20 top colleges where a lot of our students end up applying to. So that's that. And I think, oh, I know one last thing I wanted to talk about. If your child decides to take the SAT or the ACT, they can always upload their scores under their little icon and under test scores. And you can just, uh-oh, what happened there? Okay. I'm not sure it's logging me out. Okay, so you can click on the plus icon and you can add whatever score, whether it's a PSAT, SAT, or the ACT score, you can do that. And that will give you a little bit more information to help gauge whether your child kind of meets that criteria of the colleges that they plan to, or they're looking into. So I think, oh, and then one other thing that we talk about too is in their senior year, we do require students to give the counselors a resume if they are planning on getting a letter of recommendation. And what the resume helps the counselors do is just kind of understand all the different activities that they've done since freshman year. So we encourage the students to start as a freshman so that they don't wait until their senior year to kind of scrounge around and try to figure out, oh, I remember I did something with this club back in 9th grade and I did so many hours, but I can't remember everything. So I think part of it, you know, we try to encourage a student to get started on their resume as soon as we work with the freshmen with their Naviance setup. So I think, yeah, so applying to college and scholarship and money, that is actually going to be the senior presentation. So next year when your kids are seniors, one of the counselors will be focusing on these two particular columns. So I think that's that. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. See if I can come back. And if you have questions, well, you're welcome to put it under Q&A and I can answer them as best as I can.
Nan, we had a few questions. You just showed us that we, you know, for instance, if our child took the PSAT or the ACT, they can put in those scores. But someone asked, is the GPA score something that populates based on their current standing?
Yeah, it populates Aries. It's the good thing is Aries populates it into Naviance at the end of each semester. So when the final grades are in, it populates into the Naviance. So it should be, so right now your child should have a GPA from 9th grade and 10th grade. Whatever the GPA is, it should be populated into the into Naviance.
What happens if it's inaccurate then? What does that mean?
If it's inaccurate, we have 3 GPAs. So you have your total GPA, you have your academic GPA, and your academic GPA from 10th and 11th grade. So it should be the overall GPA. I believe it should be the overall GPA, but I can double check on that.
Does each parent have their own Naviance account, or is there one Naviance account just for the student?
Parents have access to Naviance. You should have gotten something when your child was a freshman. If you don't remember how to access it, reach out to your child's counselor and we can send you the information to access the account.
And then we had a parent ask, did the students get this presentation on Naviance? And do they know how to log in?
We've talked to the students about Naviance. We've many times since freshman year, so they should be able, well, students access Naviance in a different way because it's attached to Clever. So all they have to do is go to clever.com and they go to the bottom and to look for the icon, and all they have to do is click on Clever. So their access is a little bit different than ours, than parents. So yes, they should be able to know how to do all this stuff.
And then a parent asked two questions, so I'm going to kind of combine those. But what is the recommended amount of schools a student should have in each category? I'm assuming this person meant like schools that I'm thinking about or applying to. And then what are the key benchmarks we should be hitting in junior year in terms of college planning? You know,
it used to be we want students to have 3 safeties, 3 targets, and 3 reach schools. But as you know, colleges have become very competitive. So even some of the schools that we consider to be target may not necessarily be targets anymore, or even safety schools may not be necessarily safety schools anymore. My feeling is, as a parent, you know, sit with your child, talk to them, find out, okay, here's a list of 10 schools. If 9 of the schools you don't get in, this one last school, will you attend? If they say yes, then keep that on the list. But I think it's up to every parent and student to decide whether they want to put in 10 schools, 12 schools, or just 3 schools. Because maybe some students, you know, or parents might say, you know, I only want to go to I only want to go to A, B, and C. If I don't go to A, B, and C, then I'm going to go to PCC and I'm going to transfer. So, and that's okay too, because we have a lot of kids who do transfer from community college, and actually the acceptance rate there is actually a little bit better than going from high school to a 4-year because of the competitiveness that is that's there. So parents also have to understand that the applications can range from $50 to $100 to $110. So it's up to every individual. There isn't like a set number. One year I had a student apply to 30 colleges. He just wanted to know whether he's going to get into a handful of them and make a decision based on that. But again, you know, you're talking about 30 colleges at $50 to $100 a pop. So everybody's different. It's whatever works for the family.
Did he win a prize? That's a lot.
I do have to say he did get into his dream school, but he got into his dream school in January versus the fall, but he was still happy with that. So
that's fantastic.
Yes.
There's a question about where can we see the GPA if a student has transferred in from a foreign country?
Okay, the issue with students transferring from a foreign country is that we only have, the GPA is based on courses taken at SPHS. So any courses taken outside of SPHS do not get factored into our GPA. So when you have students apply to colleges, they're not necessarily looking at the transcripts, they're looking at the courses that was taken that fulfills their eligibility to apply to colleges, like your 4 years of English, your 3 years minimum of math, your 2 years minimum of science. If they do more, fantastic. If they do the minimum, that's fine too. That doesn't mean that they won't get into a college. It's just that you have to understand with the way things are going with you know, just so many more students applying to colleges. Again, there you have, you know, over 100-something applications, and colleges are only accepting, let's say, 30,000 students. You know, that makes it difficult and makes it more competitive. And they're not opening up those slots as of right now. They're not opening, for extra slots for students to get in. So just understand that even though if your child came from a different school or came from a different country, that doesn't mean that they're not going to meet their graduation requirements or their A through G requirement, which is the college requirement. So I wouldn't worry about that, because again, when students apply for colleges, they tend to apply by putting their own, what is the word I'm thinking of? They put in their own grades, so they're not necessarily looking at the transcript. They will eventually to validate the grades, but they're looking at certain classes that fulfill the college eligibility.
Great. We have another question. It said, sort of related to Naviance and looking at colleges, but my child said most of his friends have college counselors. I'm assuming like outside college counselors.
Right.
We've looked into this. Is it something you recommend? He's feeling like it might hurt his college chances if he does not have one.
I think that is a preference. I personally don't feel that students who don't have a college counselor is at a disadvantage. Number one, because counselors are the ones who write the letters of recommendations. Outside counselors do not. Secondly, the college counselors outside, they do not guarantee that your child will get into a certain college. That is really based on your child's application. So it's not like a student is going to get into USC because they have a college counselor. I've had a lot of students who don't have college counselors who've gone into really top-notch schools because it's based on their merit. And maybe the college counselors outside may guide them as to what kind of colleges to select. But then that's what Naviance is for. You put in your information of what you want, and Naviance will help generate a list of colleges based on your criteria. So again, it's a preference, and there's no right or wrong with that. I mean, if it's something that a family wants to go and invest in, that's fine. That's okay too. Or if a parent doesn't have their child doesn't have a college counselor, that's not to say that they won't get into a college.
Another question, do SPHS counselors meet with students individually to help them with determining their safety target reach schools?
We usually do presentations to talk to the kids, but we don't do it individually. Students are always welcome to come and talk with the counselors and ask questions, which a lot of our students do. They are very strong advocates for themselves. So they do come and talk to us about colleges. They ask really good questions. We can definitely work with them on that. But again, understand that we have about 70 to 80 students per grade level. So it's very hard to meet with every single one of them. But they are always welcome to come and ask, if they want to shoot us an email, that would be very, a quick way of asking. But they can always come and see us during lunch, brunch, before school, or after school if we're available, if we don't have any other meetings going on.
And a few GPA questions. One is, in the university acceptance statistics in Naviance for like GPA, SAT, et cetera, is the GPA weighted or non-weighted?
Unweighted. Because we are an unweighted school. And so when students apply to colleges, let's say they apply to the UCs or the Cal States, the most points, or the UCs and Cal State will give students up to 8 points with their for their APs and honors. So it's 1 per semester. So basically 4 years or 4 classes of either honors or APs that get the weighted, get that extra bump. Private colleges do it separately, and they do it kind of on their own, and they don't usually tell the students what they're looking 4. So those private independent colleges are a little bit different than UCs and Cal States. But yeah, but the GPA that's on Naviance is not weighted.
And then to find the GPA in Naviance, it's already populated in there, correct? Like
It's
the
already
end of sophomore
populated
year.
in there. I'm not sure where it would be on the front page. Let me see if I can go back and look.
Well, I know today I was looking at scattergrams and it was my son's GPA was there.
Yeah, so I don't think it's on the first page. Yeah, it might not show it on. It might not show scores. Yeah, I think it just populates it, but it might not show the students because I do not see it. Oh, you know where it is? I found it. So if you go to the small icon on the right-hand side of your child's, you know, mine says MN for Maverick Ng. So if you, that little arrow, if you click on it, there's a section that says it's the title says about me home, and under account, if you click on my account, then it gives information about the student, and the GPA is housed there.
Great.
And it's not weighted.
And if the GPA is incorrect, should they, who should they email?
Reach out to the counselor, because we can look at it, because we have to compare it with the transcript. Because again, there's certain things that students take that are outside of school that we do not factor into our GPA.
And is there a way to search for schools in Naviance that will offer more merit aid?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I think that's pretty much all the questions.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know a lot of you have things to do. And this, again, is recorded, so it will be posted up as soon as it is done.
I'm sorry, I do have one more question. I was just curious, what are the recommended benchmarks for junior year in terms of college planning? Like, what should parents and students be doing or have set in place by this point to be at this year, so that they're ready for senior year applications?
Well, one of the things, as I mentioned, is, you know, sit down with your junior and go over some of the schools that they may be interested in applying and do some research. Look at the school, you know, location, because, you know, there's some students who don't want to move out of California, and there's some kids who want to move out of California. Start looking at, you know, the financial aspect of it. You know, is this a school that is going to be affordable to the family? Do you have another sibling or another child that's already in college? Because if you do, maybe you might want to think about a school that is, you know, affordable, or if you want the child to be closer to the sibling, maybe look for a school that's close by. But one of the things that you do need to start looking into with your child is to be able to come up with a list of schools, do some research, make sure, you know, I know a lot of students want to go to schools, certain schools, because of the name, but there's a lot of schools outside of California that are smaller. They tend to give a little bit more merit scholarships. They also have really excellent programs, and some students don't consider those schools, even though they are pretty much gems. You know, they're just kind of hidden. So yeah, so definitely start looking at the schools. Jim, are there any more questions?
That's it on my end.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening. We really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, definitely reach out to your counselor if you need support. That's what we're here for.